their own free time of communicating with the other teachers or talking with the other teachers.
Oh, okay. So I mean, as far as like teachers might not pay attention
instead
to
of
students?
watching the kids,
Yeah.
they're like joking around with each other. Not like, like physically, just talking
Sure.
with each other.
So instead of looking after you guys, they're kind of doing their own social thing and may not see some of the bullying stuff that's going on behind their back. Okay. Thank you, Phoenix. I appreciate you sharing. Miss Ileann, if you don't mind, if we can jump to you really, we have a few minutes to go to the break, but if you don't mind, walk through, because you've been involved in the schools, you've grown up in this community, in every way, shape, or form, you've put yourself out there. And a lot of times you do that, you get hit pretty hard sometimes. How have you seen bullying manifest itself?
So I want to start off by congratulating you for being so brave to come out here as a young person and to speak on this, because it's a huge deal, and I think you're speaking for thousands of children that don't have the bravery or even the access to do what you're doing. So well done to you, first and foremost. Secondly, I have my slides up that I used to present at schools, and I wanted to start off by saying the definition of bullying that I would spread amongst students and within the schools. So it can get misinterpreted what bullying is versus just someone being mean, and that's why I like to differentiate between the two. So bullying is defined, and I'm going to list out the keywords to pay attention to. Bullying is defined as the repetitive, intentional hurting of one person or group by another person or group where the relationship involves an imbalance of power. Bullying can be physical, verbal, or psychological, as he stated. It can happen face-to-face, right in front of you, or online. And online bullying is called?
Cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying. So just to highlight a few of the terms, repetitive. Bullying is repetitive, which means it's doing or saying the same thing several times. So it's not just a one-off, right? It's one-off matter, it's many times. It's intentional. This person is intentionally and clearly trying to hurt you. It's an imbalance of power when one person or group of people exerts power and control over the other. So for example, I might say, I'm taller than Phoenix, I'm stronger than Phoenix, I can take advantage of him, and that is my imbalance of power to try to attack him and to bully him. Hurtful, which means the act of causing pain, injury, or suffering. So getting back to your point, physical, verbal, or psychological. Pain, words hurt as well, just as much as anything physical, right? So it isn't just somebody hitting you. We can't just think bullying and attach it to physical. It can be all of the above, the three that I just mentioned. And then, like I said, face-to-face or online. So in person or online still counts as bullying. So I just want to start off by giving that definition, because some people might not clearly understand that. And like I said, a one-off is not truly the definition of bullying. But if you're seeing it continuously and it becomes a consistent habit within that environment, then it becomes an alarming issue that needs to really be looked into. Not only if it's a one-off that it should be ignored, but especially when it becomes consistent, then that needs to be tackled. So in my visits to schools, I had students come up to me and make it very clear that, Miss Ileann, I'm experiencing bullying, and there's only so much I could have done at that time. My main goal as Miss Cayman, while being an advocate for this platform, was to pretty much be the voice and to spread the knowledge. I think, knowledge is power when applied. And so I took advantage of that platform and I went into the schools and I spoke with them, and having those students speak up and make it very clear that something's not right in the schools, for so much of them to come up to me like that, makes it very obvious that something isn't being done further enough. I think personally, I don't think it's being done enough to ensure that our students are safe in the schools. So that's my take on the bullying. I know we have Ms. Dawn next, but I know you'll come around.
No, I really appreciate that, because you've hit the point of the definition, which we talked about. We dilute the word so much that you have just put some teeth back into what that word means. We do have to go to a short commercial break. When we come back, Ms. Dawn, we're jumping right to you.
Sure. And
your personal experiences and some of your feedback that you've received since stepping into this limelight.
Yeah, I can definitely share that when we come back.
Thank you so much. Back to more talk today, right after a short break.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning.
Ouch!
When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Easter vacation is just around the corner, and Cayman Airways has added multiple extra flights to some of your favorite destinations, some of mine too. Look here, they got seats available now for booking on extra Easter flights between Grand Cayman and Kingston, La Ceiba, Miami, Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and you can even catch a non-stop flight to Montego Bay for Easter. Check it out. You can visit CaymanAirways.com, contact a local travel agent, or call Cayman Airways Reservations on 949-2311. And don't wait too long though, because these extra Easter seats always sell fast. Be sure to add your Sir Turtle Rewards number to your booking so you can earn more miles for more free trips this year. Well, I know where I'm going. I'll see you on board a uniquely Caymanian airline for Easter.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, guest host for Talk Today, and in studio a special segment where we have several individuals, stakeholders in the community who are all committed to seeing the bullying culture within schools and offices come to a very, very rapid grinding halt. Miss Dawn, before the break, we were talking to Phoenix and to Miss Ileann about their experiences and what they see from their standpoint in the schools and from a ambassador perspective on this topic. From your perspective as a mother, Caymanian, political hopeful, member of a new national party with some very broad-ranging manifesto items on their talking points, walk me through your experience of how you see bullying through your eyes.
Let's just start by saying that there was bullying in my day when I went to school, but that was so long ago that I think it's irrelevant.
It's not.
At this point, but yeah, moving on.
We forget a little bit.
Going back to what Ileann say, I think you brought up the when you mentioned the definition, you hit the nail on the head. The imbalance of power. Mm-hmm. So bullying is prevalent when there is an imbalance of power, and we have to figure out in our schools where that imbalance is coming from, because these kids are our kids, and they are feeling it comfortable to exert power over someone else, one, because they feel it's been taken from them or they don't have a voice. Absolutely. So there's obviously a systemic issue causing it. Some people are mean just because they're mean. We know that as well. So, but you know, we still have to figure out where that is coming from in our schools and affecting our children. And I think getting to the root cause of that. So whilst we do have seemingly adequate legislation and adequate laws in place to address, and while we have done the anti-bullying campaign, I think it was in 2023, maybe where you were involved as well. So whilst we have spent a lot of time on the education of bullying. I think understanding the underlying issues that are causing the bullying is something that we have not gotten to the root of. And it's something that I'd like to see addressed and where it's coming from that standpoint.
Can I piggyback off of something?
Please.
Where you said like people just being mean for no reason. I think it always has a root cause to it. Everything. No one is just mean for no reason. But I mean, maybe there's a one-off, but that's not as often. I think a lot of times a reflection, or the person who is being a bully, that's a reflection of what they have at home or something they have experienced.
Correct.
So I think it's always a root. Maybe maybe there's a one-off where somebody just woke up today and decided to choose violence. But I think typically everybody has a reason as to why they treat people the way they treat people.
I think you're absolutely correct. Sterling, if you don't mind, because you've been patiently waiting here, if you don't mind, walk us through a couple minutes here, your personal experience as Dawn and Ileann and Phoenix have on, because you're a father as well. You've held this seat. You've heard people call in to tell you about. You have had bullies call in this show and tell you about how they are not bullies. You have had it all. You've heard it all. Walk us through your experience.
Again, thanks for this opportunity. Thanks to sit with not just Phoenix representing youth, Ileann with her platform, and Dawn as a sort of a contemporary in this political battle. I said earlier that it was unfortunate that the word has become a cliche. So much so that when you reached out and said, can you come on today, this is the topic, it didn't matter what else I have on. We're all campaigning, we have very important things. I had appointments that were scheduled, not just with potential constituents, but very important, with physicians to get the dental cleaning. Nothing is more important now than this topic. Not because it's a political platform that gives me an opportunity. I'm here in a personal capacity. But I'm also here without apology that as the next MP for West Bay South, there's going to be action. We've talked and we've talked and we've talked. We've quit and run and hide and jump ship. We need people who are going to lead. We need people.
No, I appreciate that.
Right? And
but your personal experience.
Like the bullying that we've seen, I recognize what Ms. Dawn shared because we saw it as teasing. It was no harm, no foul. Maybe because there wasn't a social media. But bullying that we've experienced it now. The media. To take the definition that Ms. Ileann reminded us, it's a power position, it's a power dynamic. When I'm hosting in the past, as you shared, people called in and talked, and I tried to facilitate, to find a semblance of balance, to get people to recognize. But as a parent, you have to be an active engaged. You cannot be a lazy parent. You need to tell your children things, not because you're their friend, but because you're their nurturer, their protector, and their provider. As a parliamentarian, you need to lead by example. Why I share that? Anybody want to feel slighted? Go right ahead, especially if you're a political candidate or you were just recently elected. Now it probably would not be God's willing with a good approach of our voters. This issue isn't bullying. This issue transcends more than that. It's our safety and security. If our children in their schools do not feel that they can go, learn, laugh, have fun, and whatever that personal dynamic that translates, that they'll may have little differences. And if the parents don't realize, know, and accept the safety of their children in their schools, they're going to be not just educated, they're going to be so traumatized that they don't want to become future people who bully. They're going to become non-productive, non-performing members of society who can't raise families, who can't contribute to society, whose quality of lives are going to be so impacted. God forbid what they would do. That Expansion Foundation the other day just provided a statistic, talked about the many young people who are
No, take that. Take a breath. It's a passionate topic, man.
I can't even say attempting suicide. I had some students the other day who we had to go. Listen, this isn't something that happened yesterday. Yeah. This is something that happened this morning. Saturday, something is going to probably, God forbid, happen tomorrow. We have to rally around, not just by the words, not just by the policies, but by our actions and standing with our children. There's a video a few months back.
Very quickly.
Sorry. A bunch of children in a locker change room at one of the schools. There's a boy in the corner, shaking and shivering. I asked people to look at it. Oh, he's laughing, he's okay. Though that boy was terrified, he was petrified because the two boys attacking the other boy. They were worried that he would be next. So he sat there, his laughter was in acquiescence. His laughter was nervousness that he wanted to finish what he was doing to get out. That image conveyed that. What happened? Now we can deal with the boys, but what are we doing to deal with the root? And the root is simply, we've seen it in our parliament, as you shared. We've seen it in the media where a power dynamic is saying, oh, you think you're big and bad? Let me show you, because I have the mega money machine to remind me to put in place. Look at the campaign trail. Bullying, bullying, bullying. And it's become a cliche, my friend. Sorry.
No, I'm going to cut you there.
Yes, please.
You hit, I don't know the news before Susan gets mad at me, but you hit the point in the head there. If we can't expect parliamentarians over the next 6 to 8 weeks to conduct them, or potential parliamentarians, candidates who are running, to conduct themselves with the same behavior that they would expect from a 12-year-old, 13-year-old in school, let me be very blunt, you should not be on the campaign trail, point blank.
Yep,
If you're going to act like a child, you should not be leading a country. And that's, if you're offended by that, 5 people in this room have just, democracy rules in this right here. On that note, before Miss Susan does cut me off the air, let me send it over to Miss Susan for our 2 p.m. headline news. When we come back, slightly modified version of the conversation, we're going to jump into how you view solutions to this. We know the problem. Let's talk the solutions. Back to more talk today, right after this.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market.
With a look at your latest headlines, I'm Jevi Ebanks. Red Sky at Night is this weekend on Saturday from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. on the grounds of the Hartwell Theatre. The annual event will feature Swanky Kitchen Band as the lead performance and will also have displays of local arts and craft, culture, and local dishes. For more information, you can visit the Cultural Foundation on social media. In regional news, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force has confirmed that one of its officers is among 4 individuals arrested in St. Lucia following the discovery of drugs and seafood on a boat. The arrests were made on Thursday by the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. While the RSVGBF did not reveal his identity of the officer, sources suggested he has over 20 years of experience in the service. The other individuals reportedly hail from the same community in eastern St. Vincent. The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force stated its full cooperation with the ongoing investigation. Emphasizing the case's sensitivity, the police force has refrained from providing further details and urged the public to wait for an official update. In other regional news, in a joint operation with French authorities, 6 individuals, including 4 Guyanese nationals, have been arrested after 6.3 tons of cocaine were discovered aboard a Guyana-flagged vessel off of West Africa. The others detained are a Colombian and a Dominican national. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Guyana confirmed the authorization for the operation was granted on Saturday in collaboration. The drugs were found packaged in bales during a search of the vessel, and the entire 6-member crew were detained. The Ministry of Home Affairs stated that the investigations are ongoing and reaffirmed its commitment to combating transnational organized crime, particularly narcotic trafficking, through strengthened international cooperation. That is your latest headlines. I'm Jevi Ebanks.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, your guest host. Very pleased again to have in studio Mr. Phoenix Singh, Miss Ileann Powery, Miss Dawn Thomas, and Mr. Dwayne Ebanks. A collective, unified conversation today. Again, this invite for this particular session was sent out to all the parties vying for election to join this conversation as an all-partisan approach to stopping and nipping in the butt bullying within our schools and our office places. Now, before the break, in case you missed it, we were talking about some of the kind of the root causes, and Miss Ileann, to your point of the imbalance of power. The way I phrase it from my coaching years, and this is from 20 years of coaching kids, especially boys, one of those primary offenders for physical bullying never had incidents because we kind of nip it in, we create an environment that doesn't allow it. And to that point, that imbalance of power, the hierarchy of social hierarchies, we have social hierarchy in school, we see it in wolves, we see it in animal packs, we have a hierarchy, and it's a very natural part of life. The difference is that when we talk about humans, we're supposed to be a little more advanced, that we don't have to beat people up just to show that we are strong. Animals do, we don't, right? So that hierarchy and that balance of power is important, but it works in 3 different ways from experience. It works top down, so we have scenarios where a boss can bully an employee, a teacher can bully a student. We have lateral, where we have students can bully each other, co-workers can bully each other, and we have it bottom up, and that is where someone who is a perceived victim can utilize that victim status to get more attention. So in the case of false allegations, where a victim uses the sympathy of the public to milk a situation and take advantage of it. We see it in schools where younger students will feign an injury so an older kid gets in trouble. It's that balance of power is a hierarchy, and how it moves can change. The other big one with bullying, and this is very important to Dwayne's point of the office places, is we call it this in office places. In schools, we call it unruly. In office places, we call it toxic work environments. Any environment you have that is a toxic environment is a breeding ground for a bully. Bullies thrive in this, and they fight to maintain the status quo on an environment because it's how they empower themselves. Right. They need all of you fighting so that I can feel good. So a toxic environment like a school where you have this that never gets nipped in the butt, or office places that never put proper procedures in place, they may have regulations, as you said, Don. They don't have procedures to address those regulations, so nothing ever actually gets done. And so that toxic environment in schools that we see, in office places, and that hierarchy, those are our talking points, right? And so those are the broad areas. And now we're going to jump into what solutions do you think can help? And this is you could talk about it from a school, politics, office places. We're grown-ups in this room. Phoenix is growing, right? He's 13 now. He's hit that teenage years where he has more lip than I'd like sometimes.
Not more lip.
He's assertive.
He's assertive. But Phoenix, speaking of like from your perspective, because you are a YouTuber, you have the Phoenix Zone channel. Talk to us a bit about what you see as some solutions for bullying from your perspective in school.
So for solutions, the Phoenix Zone is working on a project called the Be Good Project.
The Be Good Project.
Yeah. And basically the Be Good Project is about being a good student. And being a good student has 5 different main key points. The first one is about being humble. The second one is about being a good listener. The third one is being a good problem solver. The fourth one is being disciplined. And the fifth one is being patient. Excellent. So those key points will really be a good solution to bullies and, other kids.
Sure.
And in the context, I want to think that's student of life, right? Not just student in the context of a school.
Yes.
Right?
Also, like even like me as a grown-up, I still have to be a student, and I have to listen to you when you tell me stuff. Yeah, I get it. No, I love it. Then thank you, Miss Ileann. Like that broad student of life. So how does that help with bullying though? Like what are you actually doing to help with? Yes, you could say, go be a good student, but how are you actually going about helping this problem?
So instead of telling people to be a good student, I'm working on some main key projects inside the Be Good project.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
So one, I'm working with Miss Ileann, and it's called Birds of a Feather.
Cool.
She'll tell you the rest about it.
Am I?
You got thrown under the bus.
I have no choice now.
No, you don't.
You're okay. Go ahead. Continue.
And I also I'm trying to do a new band with 8 of my friends.
Oh, like a music band.
A music band, yeah.
Cool. What's the band called?
Well, Be Good Band.
It's a great name. I'll take it.
But it's basically like a younger version of Swanky, a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
I don't think anybody in this room is going to disagree. That's a good way to go.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're listening right now. Swanky group is probably listening, going, "Yeah, go get him, Phoenix."
Yeah.
What else?
I also have one called the Think Tank.
Okay.
It's called Thinkers and Doers. And it's basically like young Caymanians will figure out solutions to problems, but it also could be useful to bullying, because since that's a major problem.
That is a major. Great. Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. Those are okay. So you're looking at it from music. You're doing it from helping young Caymanians, and the first one was being a good student.
Yep.
The project with Miss Ileann. All right. So Miss Ileann, care to clearly you were thrown under
the light is on me now.
Clearly you're the voice of birds of a feather. Yeah.
So actually, it was Ray and Phoenix who reached out to me about this project, and as stated, it's called Birds of a Feather, where you can look at it just to give a visual as some sort of a podcast, a show where we're showcasing different topics, different things that are happening within our community, things that need to be addressed, and like you said, more so coming from a standpoint of solution based versus stating what the problems are. We know what the problems are, we know what the things are, so let's get to the how can we fix it, how can we add positively to this and make a true impact. And so with the show, it'll show a dynamic between me being 27 years old, him, how old are you now? Say it for everybody to hear.
13.
Say proud. He's now a teen officially. And so obviously, even though that's a short span of a difference, it's still a lot of differences that took place between when I was born and how I was raised compared to Phoenix. So having that difference of opinion, difference of viewpoint will be important for our audience, and being able to touch a market that maybe isn't there right now in Cayman. So we'll have that platform to be able to communicate on important things and get the conversation going, right?
Awesome. And then as far as from your practical standpoint of your work previously, I haven't seen the school system firsthand. Any solutions that you could think of, even topically, that you think, whether it be long-term solutions or short-term fixes, that you think could actually enhance or help with this problem right now?
So I'm going to leave the two of them to go to the more intense, to the intense solutions.
Now you're throwing me under the bus.
Yeah, I'm throwing you under the bus now.
Do you see how this works? It goes around the table?
But I will add some more what is probably looked at as simple solutions, which I don't think are simple. I'll state just two of them.
Please.
One is simply being kind, saying kind things, and living through kindness through your actions. And I'm going to speak directly to teachers and parents with that point, because our students, our children, are a reflection of what they see in the home and what they see in the classroom. And if you're not mirroring what they need to see positively, they're only going to give back what you give to them. So I think setting yourself up for being a positive example is important. So that's one of the things I would say. And for those who are bystanders in a bullying situation, use your voice, and use your voice to not only help, but to uplift, in the sense of maybe you aren't brave enough to go and tell the teacher what you saw, but you might go to the student who was bullied and say, hey, I saw what happened. I'm so sorry I didn't speak up, but just know that I'm here if you need me, or I'm here to listen to you if you need me. And that's so important. So like these are looked at as smaller solutions, but they go a long way. So just a message, like I said, to anyone in the community listening, live in kindness, choose your actions wisely, because they have a tremendous effect on people, and live by example positively. And like I said, as much as you can, be brave in situations where you can use your voice to uplift someone instead of tearing them down.
And one of the things I would say to go with that as well is if we can create a way to actually, for people that are viewing the bullying, to be able to actually talk about it anonymously and not necessarily always give I mean, the teacher will know who they are, but not necessarily share that name beyond the situation. And that will give people a little bit more comfort in terms of talking about things openly.
Right.
That way they don't feel like they're going to get retribution from the event. So creating that anonymity within the schools might also help in terms of creating sort of that context. But going on, I mean, there are a number of other solutions that can be done.
Please, sure.
I think one of the things we can also do is when bullying does happen, I think identification at the start is very, very important, and not let it become a repeat offender. Yeah. And if it is a repeat offender, then obviously it should be escalated quite quickly. And getting the parents involved from the beginning of the first incident as well, making sure that all parties involved are aware, but do not delay in the execution of a plan to address, because even if it is a one-off, you can nip it in the bud right there and not let it become a repetitive issue. I think a lot of people get comfortable and they build up more power when they become repeat bullies. And so addressing it at first sight is probably the most important thing to do, because it says this behavior is not acceptable. Allowing
Thank
it to
you.
continue says otherwise, and I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things that thing. But I mean, we can go on to other solutions as well. I mean,
Please. Actually, you know what? Let's go to a quick commercial break. We come back. It's right back to you. Sorry, it's that
not-
timing of the.
Yeah, no
But
problem.
we're right back to you, and because I do want to hear. You had a few solutions the other day, which I thought were
Yep.
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Back to more talk today, right after this.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Subway and Oreo has changed the dessert game. Introducing the Oreo Footlong Cookie, a full 12 inches of chocolatey, creamy goodness. It's big, it's bold, and it's here for a limited time. Perfect for sharing or not. We won't judge. Want it fast? Order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app for quick pickup and earn loyalty points. Or get it delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Don't wait. Treat yourself today. The Oreo Footlong Cookie is calling your name. Subway. Eat fresh. Snack sweet.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by CG Britcay. Insurance, health, pensions, life, where people come first.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh Raymond Singh guest hosting Talk Today. Again, in studio, we have a panel here discussing solutions to bullying. Ms. Dawn, I want to come back to you because you've been waiting patiently. We were discussing solutions as you see it for how to address bullying in the schools. Before you mentioned stopping that buildup of power for the bully, like nip it right away. You see it, stop it.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that Phoenix was talking about sort of the creating the accountability at the student level and saying what good behavior is and kind of the be good.
Yeah.
That is a great initiative. And I know Ms. Ileann was also talking about it sort of the teacher level and having the accountability. But I also think it's necessary to implement a third level, and that is even with the teachers and them trying their best and the parents being notified of the bullying in school. I think that bullies need to be tackled with at a board level. I think we should be implementing boards above our schools to make sure that things don't you don't kick the can down the road or it doesn't perpetuate. I think, like I said, nipping it at the bud. But obviously, you know, there's a lot going on in a school, and it's not just about bullying. There's lots of activities, there's curriculums, there's a lot going on. But when you have systemic issues such as bullying in our schools and you have identified a bully that continues to perpetuate that behavior, you got to tackle it right away, and you got to hold everyone in that school accountable for that behavior. Otherwise, you have to remove that behavior from that school, or you have to at least try to address it, and if not, you need to remove it. And then we need to come up with ways to deal with that. But as Ms. said, it isn't always necessarily the schools that's to blame. It's where they exert the behavior. It tends to start from their home environment. And so, you know, we have to get to the root cause as to what's causing the bullying so that we can then address it. But putting accountability at every stage is very, very important. And saying something is no longer acceptable, but actually not only saying it, but doing something about it. I think the solution is always about action, and action sometimes isn't what's taken. They talk about it, but they don't do something about it. And I think that is, from what I've seen and from the kids I've spoken to in the last couple of months, is that we don't tell our teacher, ma'am, because they don't do anything about it. We don't report it because they won't do anything about it. So the kids themselves are saying, we don't see any action, so what's the point of actually talking about it? So I think we need to go back to showing actions speak louder than words, and I think we need to start proving it to kids that we will take action and we take them seriously when they're reporting it, and not just,
brush it off.
No,
Would you say that sorry.
No, please.
Would you say that board would be responsible for instances where teachers are the bullies to students? Because that does happen as well.
Correct. And that's why I say maybe even having the ability to do anonymous reporting and not necessarily always, because people don't come forward and talk about things because they're afraid they're going to be named. But definitely putting a system in place where there's even counselors available to kids to sit down and talk about the situation, how they feel about the situation, who's causing the situation. Don't use it as a tattletale mechanism, because we talked about that earlier, where it's very clear that, we can just start to go back and forth. But, you're definitely trying to understand the problem. Usually a bully is always a bully.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, to that bully thing, 'cause I know Ileann has a couple of points he wants to make. On that bully point, here's the thing about bullies, and this is from my coaching days. Bullies almost always are highly vulnerable, high anxiety. They have been bullied themselves. They're copying behaviors, like you said. You copy behaviors you see at home. You copy behaviors your peers. You want to fit in with your peers. You see your peer do this. Oh, that's the behavior I should copy because that makes me fit in with this peer group. There's so many different things. But when it comes to bullies, I do have a certain soft spot for bullies, because a bully is someone who's hurt, who's literally just passing along that pattern of hurt.
It could also come from their place in the classroom. So
Absolutely.
if they're in a classroom and they're not understanding something and they're at the back of the class and they're feeling that so-and-so is always smarter than them, they then feel like they've lost their power.
It's a call for help.
It's a call for help.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily have to come from home. It could just come from within the school and them not feeling that they're getting the education that they need.
Yeah.
And we all know that our school systems are failing our kids right now. And maybe it is just that. And maybe it's about the additional support they need in the classroom to make them feel like they're empowered and they can answer the questions when called upon.
Before you get to Sterling, I just want to add one thing that you said about being anonymous and having that voice, even though you're afraid. One of the things that I used to tell students a lot was write down on a sheet of paper the date, if you can, the time, and the details of the information when if you got bullied or if you witnessed bullying. Write it down. Hand it to your teacher. Maybe your physical voice isn't usable right now because you're too fearful, but you can write it down, and not only are you spreading the message, but you're documenting it as well, which will be useful for you should it escalates. So I always remind them, use that as your voice if you're truly too afraid to go to the teacher or to a counselor.
That's a very to Dwayne's point earlier of individuals who are really in a dark place. That's it. They need a safe space, and that is an access to a safe. And bullies will try to stop access. A bully will try to stop your ability to go tell your teacher. They don't want you to succeed in this environment. So that is a way. Any way you can find to help those child. But still, I know you've been waiting a long time. But
we have to learn to listen intently, and if we will listen to our students, our children, we'll hear the voices and the cries of our society. It is said that hurt people.
The most,
Right? We can choose to be a part of the problem or part of the solution. Is what's happening now. We're just complaining. And why this is, again, I'm glad that you reached out, because sitting here in the past, listening, trying to facilitate discussion, try to build positivity, try to offer a sense of hope. That's good. But now it's time for action. And if the action isn't at the top, from the parent, the politician, to the pastor and the police officer, those of us in power, we're talking about this being an imbalance of power. So if you throw me under the bus, for instance, I'm going to see it as a positive, because while I'm under that bus, I'm going to do all I can to give you a safe, smooth ride. I'm going to check your chassis and look at the engine mounts. I'm going to go under and check the struts and make sure the brakes and everything's okay. While I'm there, I'm going to change the oil so you can have an extended life for your vehicle. See, many times, if we can't be part of this thing, get all the fanfare. That's why social media is so disturbing. Why I was vehemently opposed to it, by which I recognize the tool that it is, but it's been used as a negative tool. Right? Take the political campaign. It's been almost won or lost in social media. It's false. The person posting is about his wonderful life, but take away the green screen and the backdrop. Where are they? Take away the smile and the facade. Where are they physically? If we're not nurturing, if we're not giving them a safe, secure space, but it has to be more than a cliche. We talk about solutions, and we recognize that the greatest exercise of power is restraint. If we don't hold each other accountable, if we don't individually accept responsibility, we're going to continually find, and I pray to God that we never have in our schools what we're seeing happening globally. You can't have 5, 6, 10, 15 children gang up on a child. And when it happens, it cannot be hidden from the public. The privacy of people involved is one thing. But by the same token, a society needs to be actively engaged, informed, and involved with what is happening in our schools. Statistically, our children are in our schools more.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
How many of us as parents, as caring and loving and committed and compassionate parents, can say that in the course of a 24-hour day, those of us who have at least one consecutive 30 or 60-minute face-to-face with a child, even over a meal, that's almost like a luxury. That should be the norm. And that is from the parents who are trying. Now, if this sounds like impassioned, please, because it is. Their future dictates our quality of life. But they can't have a future if they do not have a now. And the now that they have must be a loving one. The challenge is them to excel. Maslow talked about hierarchy of needs and be all you can be. But it can't be if that teacher, if that coach, if that adult in their lives aren't providing that safe space. I'm hurt when Phoenix shared that there is, unfortunately, instances where teachers, unbeknownst, they don't probably mean anything by it. They're just chatting amongst themselves, oblivious to what's happening. A lifeguard at the beach cannot be on his or her phone. That lifeguard has to have his or her ears and eyes peeled, paired, and making sure that the waves beyond, that little buoy marker, that you whistle, call, and go and retrieve that person. Right? It's not because you are controlling. It's because you're caring. It's not because you don't want him to go play in the rough waters. It's because they're not equipped to dance in that space. And that is what's happening in our parliamentarians collectively. I won't put Miss Dawn in this category because, right?
Where are you going with this?
All of us,
her now.
Right? We got to stop paying lip service to too much, stop pandering, trying to placate and pacify those who we are promising something. Because, God forbid, if you see that next school year start and there's no fundamental change to the way we teach and learn, you won't see a school year that has been... Yeah. Listen, man, this isn't about politics.
No, it's not. And
it's
not
why.
About
politics.
Yeah.
Really quick, because I know, Miss Dawn, you do have to go into shows in just a moment. Any final points from you, Miss Dawn, before you head out on any solutions or anything you would like to see happen from this conversation moving forward? 30 seconds and go.
Jeez, no pressure.
No pressure. No, I think, to Sterling's point, I think he hit it direct on the head. I think this is not a new problem.
No.
There are solutions out there. We've talked about some of them here today, and we can go around. But it's about taking the action and implementing, not just talking about a plan or saying we're going to implement a plan. It's about actually taking action to systemically weed out bullying out of our schools, and that will be multifaceted. That won't be one. It won't be a one solution fix everything.
Weeding never is.
Never is. But it's about identification, supporting the children that are in the issues, both the bully and the victim. And then it's about coming up with actions that we can execute and to systematically weed down the problem. And I think eventually,
Thank you, Ms.
it will. That's the way it has to go.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing. I thank you for coming in on such short notice. I really appreciate it. I know you have a busy schedule. Sterling, very quickly, 30 seconds, same to you, and go.
Thank you. And like Ms. Dawn, we may have a busy schedule because it's a short time,
Sure.
right? But this is one of the most fundamental things. It not just affects and informs our quality of life. It's about the safety and security of our students, but it's also about the civility and stability of our society. Because our young people in their schools, the behaviors they experience, if this goes home, it's reinforced and it's negative. When they come back to the schools, it becomes compounded. When they leave the schools and they go to their parties, into the supermarkets in the evenings, the fights that we see at some of the places, the response isn't to take the children and relegate them to somewhere and bring in more policing, whether it's in the form of uniforms, security guards, armed police, or whatever. It's about bringing them together to say, look, your differences are small, but we're magnifying them. You are more alike. The greatest way to build bridges is through travel, through interaction, through engagement. I hate, but I have to. It is why West Bay South is such a fundamental reason to campaign, right? I'll give you why. You have a divided part.
We got to go to the show, but this is going to get mad at me.
No, and it bridges that gap, right? So
yes, understand.
We come together, look beyond our color, or ethnicity, education, or economics. We have a collective, unified voice if we stand in love and unity. Our children demand and deserve that. Our parents who've gone before, their investment, their sacrifice has now to be respected and rewarded because we are willing to stand in the gap. Not to quit. Quitters don't win, winners don't quit. We have to unite.
I love it.
And we have to unite in our culture.
I'm with you.
Let's start there. Everyday life, people tear each other down for no reason at all.
Oh, that crab in the bucket. That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other conversation.
We need to stop saying that is what we need to do.
Yeah.
There you go.
Not a first step in the process.
That lateral tear down is what it is. And, I appreciate we are running out of time. I have one final comment I'll make. I will say thank you, Mr. Phoenix. Thank you, Miss Ileann, Miss Dawn, Miss Sterling. Unfortunately, again, to those who could not make it but were invited, I appreciate your lending us your ear recently. The one other area I will say, because you are vying for a legislative office, you're going to be potentially future drafters of our laws or voters of our laws. And that's just to all the other 58 candidates out there who is running as well. You are the ones who are going to shape the landscape of this topic. Taking it seriously now. Don't wait until you get into office. Collectively deal with it now. That way when you step in, you already know what you want to do when you get into office. The one area that I would say to all of the potential parliamentarians is to use sports. I know sports wasn't mentioned a lot during this conversation, but we have some of the top-ranked global coaches in the world. The reason why we do so well in the sports in Cayman, we have some of the best coaches in the world. And coaching philosophy, by demand, dictates that bullying has no place on a team.
Correct.
They operate as a team, as a unit, which is what we're doing here as a team. If we start looking and reframing our words, instead of a classroom, this is a team work environment, and we change the language, we change the methodologies, we bring in more of these coaches that are doing such phenomenal things. Jordan Crooks had amazing talent. He also had amazing coaches along the way who helped get him to that level. We have so many of them here in Cayman. This is our opportunity to kind of rally them as future parliamentarians. Use their knowledge, use their skills, because they are the ones with direct access to the kids, just like the teachers are, and most of them are doing it far better than many of our teachers are. Fortunate truth. On that note, we do need to call it a wrap for today's show. Thank you again to all of our loyal listeners out there in Radio Cayman Nation, and to our various guests from Enterprise Cayman, from the Cruise Port referendum, and to our dignitaries here in the studio today discussing anti-bullying. Mr. O'Connor will also be manning the Talk Today hot seat tomorrow. On behalf of the entire Radio Cayman family, have a very happy Monday. I'm Raymond Singh, and God bless.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.